Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. I'm your host, Jill Hart, and with me today is Tamara Winstead. She helps driven women like you transform their relationships with money through the Money Magnet Method, a proven framework rooted in faith, strategy, and abundance. If you've tried manifesting before and felt inconsistent, or if you doubt that financial freedom is really possible for you, I'm here to tell you that she believes it is. You don't have to stay stuck in the cycle of lack and fear. You have the power to shift your mindset, step into your worth, and call in the abundance you've been longing for. Welcome to the show, Tamara. It is so good to have you here.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
I have been really looking forward to this because I read your story and it's pretty phenomenal. So
Thank you.
go ahead and share with us.
Sure. So my name is Tamara Winstead. I am a spiritual teacher. My expertise lies in helping women entrepreneurs call in more abundance with ease and flow. And we do that in a myriad of ways. We make sure that they are, shifting that stagnant energy that they may have around money. And then we, of course, tackle those self-limiting and self-defeating beliefs that we all carry in our paradigm. And so we really, dive in and do their inner work, and they see amazing results.
That is awesome. So tell us about that time when you were shopping around the holidays.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Because that's pretty substantial.
It is. But so much has happened since then. I was like, what instance? Okay. So yes, so this particular instance, my kids were, well, we have three kids now, but we had two kids at the time, and they were probably around 10 and 8. And of course, they had a Christmas wish list that was very long. And, that particular, time of the year ended up, being a little tighter than my husband and I, had imagined. Our property taxes at that time had went up, and we had paid that, and it always comes in like the end of the year, and so we were felt like we were kind of in a tight spot. And anytime I'm in a tight spot, I always just really just take some time to myself. I evaluate whatever it is that I am thinking against the biblical truth of who I am. That is how I've become who I am, by doing that, by shining the light, shining the truth on everything. And so in that particular time, I really just, put my intention out there. And it was the eve of Eve. So it was the 23rd of December that I received a phone call that I had won $10,000 in a Best Buy sweepstakes that I had actually entered in earlier that year. And so we were thrilled and just, overjoyed. And so once we, of course, received the gift cards and everything, we were able to take our kids, they had their Christmas that we had planned, but then we did another Christmas where they were able to pick out, all the things that they wanted. So it was just a wonderful blessing and very fond memory.
That's so cool. I've heard and experienced a lot of things like that in life where you just like You're down to your last dime. I have a story of a friend of mine who used to tease her that she could make two pennies last longer than anybody I know. And she had 8 kids. She has 8 kids. She still has them.
Okay,
They're
good.
not all living at home now, but she had 8 kids, and her husband, he struggled for the longest time to just get started at something.
Yeah.
So they were always really broke. But
Hmm.
they always had enough.
Hmm.
And it was fun. It was fun to go
Hmm.
to her house. And I remember one time in particular, and this happened to her all the time, but one time in particular, she had this bill for $300 that she didn't know how she was going to pay, and it had to get paid. I mean, it was like an electricity bill or something. They were going to shut off the power. And she went out and she got the mail and she came in, and I'm standing right there. She's opening this letter from the people that bought her house, and they gave her a check for $300. Not expecting it. It just like they felt the call to send her the $300, and it showed up.
Wow.
Stuff like that
Very cool.
happens when you're
Yes,
open to
exactly.
receiving.
Yes, yes, that openness and the willingness to be open is a skill within itself. You
Mhm.
really have to step out of that surviving mode and understand that you are thriving as intended at all times to be open enough for more things to, fall into your lap that you're grateful for.
I can remember that same friend. I ran into her today, so that's why these stories are really
Okay.
fresh in my mind. She works at the grocery store around that corner from my house now. And and I've known this woman for 25 years. It's been a minute. And we knew each other in Colorado and then moved here together.
Oh,
So
wow. Oh,
into Idaho.
wow.
So I mean, there's a really long
Long
relationship.
history, right? That's wonderful.
Yeah. And they bought this house. They found this house for like $50,000, this 2,400 square foot house for $50,000 on 3 acres up in the mountains around Idaho. And
Hmm.
it's a screaming deal. But they had to they remodeled everything in it, which
Yeah.
is, their forte. They're really good at like construction and stuff. We used to tease Robert about that all the time. But um they moved into this house and there was no heater in the house. So they
Mm.
thought they were going to use space heaters. They
Been
found
there,
out
done that.
really quick it's super expensive.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
She's like, hide those space heaters, honey. I was telling her
Yes.
we lost our furnace.
Yes, they are very expensive when you're trying to heat a whole home. It just, it doesn't work very well.
No.
Yeah, I can remember, a long time ago of trying to use a space heater and me and my dog, I had a little chihuahua at the time, my kids were in school. Me and my dog were just sitting there around the heat, like we were like right up next to the heater. I was like, maybe my chihuahua is cold in here. Like, is this all you have? Yeah, so
No,
it's funny.
you do what you can do.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's right. You do
And you'll
better
have
when you know
fun
better.
because it's a story, you know?
Exactly, exactly. It's something, you look back on and just giggle.
Then they didn't have a stove for the longest time. So she had all these creative ways of cooking, and they didn't have a refrigerator for the longest time. And they had
Ooh,
this little college fridge. That's where they kept their milk because 8 kids.
right, exactly. A lot of milk. Right, exactly.
I know it sounds weird that I have all these stories about her, but she's like such an inspiring human being.
Yeah, yeah. Someone that is, lighthearted. I think we tend to go wrong when we, fall into those patterns of complaining and then you get more to complain about. I think if we can approach life in a more playful manner, almost like in a childlike manner,
Yeah.
those are the times when I have seen, and almost like, I guess it's like a surrender because, once your, intention is placed and, you have that mustard seed of faith, because sometimes it's just a mustard seed,
Yeah.
and that's enough.
That's all it takes.
That's right. And, and you just, lay down, any fears or any worries. One thing that I always remind myself of is that we were not created with a spirit of fear. And I think that speaks volumes in how we should, live our life and how we should approach, different situations.
Yeah, I agree with you. It just makes life so much better if you're not worried about things, you know? Maybe you
Exactly.
can't afford that now, but it doesn't mean you can't afford it tomorrow or the next day. And, money does fall out of the sky.
It does.
And
And
it
and
does
and
grow
so
on
the
trees.
things, right? So the
Yeah.
things, so someone might say, well, I want, this or I want that, all you have to do is set that intention and don't worry about the how. A lot of times somebody's like, I would love to have this, but I could never afford it, and it's like you are disrespecting your inner power when you do that. You have to
Mhm.
remain open because it's not our job to know the how. It's our job to set the intention. It's our job to have that faith and then go on with our life knowing that it's taken care of. And the fun of it is when you do that, sometimes it'll seem like you forgot about your manifestation and then it'll pop up out of the most strangest place that you could never have orchestrated yourself, which it always proves it to me over and over again. Like I
Yeah.
tell people, once that door is opened, it's like no one can tell me that this is not the way. Because I've seen so many things here that have shown themselves in my physical reality. And it's always a, type of, situation. Because like I said, it's always perfectly curated. It's in such a way that I could not have placed these things in order for this to happen. I
It's
didn't,
almost always out of her control. It's
yes.
like I remember telling my husband I was gonna manifest $40,000 in the last quarter of the year. And, I always have my ideas about how this is going to happen. This time I really didn't have any idea how it was going to
Hmm.
happen. And, it's getting down to the wire now. I know this isn't going to post until March. It'll be March by the time this comes out, but it's December right now as we're
Hmm.
chatting. And I was looking at my investment account and I have some cryptocurrencies that
Me
have just
too.
like, this is like, well, there it is. Not what I was expecting, but
Right.
it was right there and
Yeah.
it was that amount. So
Yes.
it's like,
Yes. And because you didn't worry about it, because you weren't up at night like, oh no, how am I gonna make this happen? It's when we put those negative, anxiety filled, fear filled, emotions into whatever it is, where it
mhm.
slows it down or just cancels it out for now. We have to have, get to a point where we do have, that belief, which, I understand. Like I tell people, like I tell my clients, you're building a muscle, when you're learning about the art of manifestation, you're building a muscle. So when I hear people say, it's not working for me, it never works for me, or, I don't think it's even a thing. I don't think that's real. What that tells me is, they have approached manifestation from some form of lack. And because of that, they are still mirroring that because the law always works. It works every single time, every
And
time.
you have to look for it though.
You
It's not
do.
it's
You
not
gotta,
like it's always out there like the Easter eggs. Well, it's kind of
no.
like Easter egg hunting. When you're little, they put them out there on the grass so you can find them real
Yes.
easily. And when you're
Yes.
young, and even when you're starting to manifest, if you're looking for, really easy things to manifest, like a quarter or a penny
Yes.
or finding a dollar or something,
Yes.
that happens super easy.
Yes.
And it's like right out there, you'll find it, it'll be on the ground.
Yes.
You'll notice it.
Every time.
And
That's
you'll be,
right.
but you have to remember, hey, I manifested that. This
Yes.
literally happened to me about 3 months ago. It was like, I'm going to manifest a dollar, just
Hmm.
$1. Because I find money all the time on the ground.
Me too.
And I found my dollar. It was like, yep, see, it still works. I still
Yes.
got it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Every time, every single time. And so if we can just, really hone in and work on those skills and, work on having, combining that faith in there with those skills so we can get to a point where we ask for that dollar in the same way that we ask for $10,000. Our nervous system is not going to react differently from setting that intention of, finding a dollar or manifesting $10,000. Once we reach that level, things really start to move very quickly.
They really do. And
Mm-hmm.
it's you got to look at it with fuzzy vision, because if you're
Mm-hmm.
like staring at it, waiting for it to, it's like the pot boiling. It
Can't lust
takes a
after
lot
it.
longer when you're looking at it.
It does. It really does. It really does. And so some of the fastest things that I have manifested have been, with maybe like a 5 minute, visualization. Like, and I do it all the time. One of the things was my husband and I would love to ride four-wheelers and things, but we hadn't been in a while. And so I just kind of got into that mode. And I was like, oh, I wish, we go out on a four-wheeler ride. And I just closed my eyes and I thought about, I heard the sound of it. I felt the movement. I can see our woods and things that we would drive through. And I really just felt that not for very long at all. And then I didn't even think about it anymore. And so then 3 days later, my husband's like, hey, you want to go for a four-wheeler ride? I got some time today. And I manifested this and I forgot. I was like, I forgot all about it. He's like, you did? I'm like, I did. Let's go.
Kind of like ordering from Amazon.
Exactly. Exactly. And
What
we
came
went
for me?
exactly. We went to visit a friend and our plane had got there really late and we were hungry and our friend's like, well, it's late. It's not gonna be a lot of options. What do you want to eat? And I was like, I really, really would love Japanese food. And him and my husband laughed at me. They were like, at this time of night, they went out there. I went and took a shower. They went out there and they came back with Japanese. And my friend said, it was a food truck, a Japanese food truck, a hibachi food truck. He's like, I have never seen this truck on the street, and especially at midnight. And I was like, well, I just get what I want.
You own it.
Exactly.
Even better.
Exactly. But they had to eat their words because they really laughed at me like I was crazy, and I was just like, that's what I want.
Then it will be there for me.
Exactly.
And that's another part of it, is just like, expect it.
Exactly. Expect it particularly, and then just expect good. And because when you're expecting good, it's everywhere. You see it everywhere. You feel it everywhere. And it's a fun journey. That's fun.
It is a fun journey.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you help people? Do you do it in groups? Do you do it one-on-one?
One-on-one. I have a program right now that is a high touch because I made it this way because I wanted what would have helped me years and years and years ago. So this is, a creation of, 20 years of researching, reading, implementing, quiet contemplation. I do a lot of meditation, to just get to this point because I feel like this message is so, so, so very important for everyone, for the entire world to, let people know that they have a lot more power than they have been led to believe, and that in some ways we have been misled, and how we react to things, and all the things. We if we can just all redirect just a little bit, then we will all start bearing those fruits.
I think that's a really good point. It's allowing people to be who they want to be, who they are, and not trying to force anything. Because the minute you start enforcing your thoughts, your opinions, your desires into a situation, and I'm not even talking about interacting with other people, just by yourself. You want something and you want it in a certain way. Well, the universe is going to bring it to you. However, the universe is going to bring it to you. It's not Santa Claus.
Right, exactly. But we have to be so careful of the thoughts that we think, because they're creating all the time, whether you speak it out of your mouth or not. And then the second thing is that tongue, which is a two-edged sword. We have to be careful what we say about others. We have to be careful about what we say, about ourselves, because
With our
each
children.
word, exactly, each word
It's
is just energy
yes.
and matters.
Always speak good over your children.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely. And tell them to speak good over themselves. My
Yes.
son's probably tired of me.
It's
But
so
it,
important.
it is important, because we have to do this in our home before we face social media, before we face peers, before we face, all of these influences that are around us. If we don't command ourselves first, then they will do it for us, and we may not even realize it.
They're going to create a life we don't really like.
Exactly. And then you feel stuck and you don't know why. Well, it's because you're not living your life. You're not living the life, that the creator intended for you, because we all have so many gifts. And sometimes I think about just like an apple seed. When you plant an apple seed, you get an entire tree. And how many apples will that apple tree produce just from one apple tree seed? So think about the greatest creation, which is us, made in the likeness of our creator. And we have so many seeds inside of us that can bloom to be so many different things, to bless so many different people. But if we are not under the belief that we even have that potential, if we don't know this information, like, that we're talking about today, then we will end up living, a life that we may end up regretting in our older years looking back, because we're recognizing, okay, I only made that decision because this person said this, or I only did that because this person said that. And so for me, I always, weigh my decisions on the fact that I know that I am limitless. I know that whatever the intention that I set is a very serious thing, and it will come to pass. And I say that with full confidence. And that's the way that I live my life, not because I read a book, but because I was a student for many years, and I implemented and I experimented, with these techniques in my life. And because they have made such a tremendous difference to my life, it has become my passion to share it, with women entrepreneurs, and even my nonprofit, which is called the Goddess Society, where we impart mindset skills into young ladies from junior high through high school.
I love
It's
that.
just so important, because if we can get these young ladies at a place of knowing their worth, knowing who they are now, well,
Yes.
when they're in a high pressure, peer pressure situation, they're going to make their decisions from that vantage point instead of, oh, I want to fit in. They will understand I wasn't made to fit in. God didn't make any of us to fit in. Sometimes I laugh about that, because I'm like, I want to see, like, why are all these people trying to be like all these other people when I specifically made you like this and you like this, And so with, talking to those young ladies and just talking to my clients, individuality is so important. Authenticity is so important to feeling fulfilled, to feeling satisfied. And it also plays a role in the manifestation process as well.
It really does. Having integrity and being whole within yourself and
Yes.
understanding that love yourself first, put on
Yes.
your own oxygen mask. You can't possibly love somebody else, and
Yes.
nobody can love you enough to overcome your lack of love for yourself.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. That's
when you're
exactly
young,
right.
if you don't know that, you're in for a really hard, long life
Yes.
of trying to find somebody to fill that void for you. I
Yes.
don't even think God can fill it. I mean, maybe it's like, maybe you may view it that God loves you as you will love yourself,
Yes.
because that's
Yes, because God resides here. And, we have to understand we are not separate from our Creator, not for 1 second have we ever been separate. The only time we have been separate is if we have not turned to it, because we have free will. We have a choice. We don't have to, develop this power that we have. We don't have to do any of that, but to really lead a fulfilled life where you are a blessing, not just to yourself, but to others in whatever unique way. That is the goal. That is, long lasting, satisfaction that doesn't have any monetary value. And that is the goal, because if you don't have these things, you are still enough. You are still everything. You are, I was reading the other day and it said, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in one drop. And so, we have to really get a handle on how powerful we are, how limitless we are. We have to, get an understanding of that to start there as a launch pad to say, okay, I want to be everything that God created me to be. I think about the parable about the talents, and I always think, I'm standing face to face with my Creator. I don't want to give him excuses. I don't want to say, you created me, but Sally said she tried to start a business and it didn't work. Or John said over here that, you can dream a little big, but don't go too crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to make sure we're not taking in those influences, because those influences can dampen the blessing that we are meant to be in the world.
I think that's a really important point, because we are meant to be a blessing in the world. We are meant to be the Creator's hands and eyes and mouth, and we're
Yes.
all connected and we are all one.
Yes.
It doesn't matter color,
No.
race, nationality.
He just threw some
We,
sprinkles of, of individuality in there, but people misconstrued that.
yeah, it's
Turn
like
it turn it to
there is
something
no us
bad.
and them. There's just us. We
Exactly.
are all one. And
Exactly.
I look for the day when the world comes to that realization and we can stop these silly wars and stuff that are.
That's right. That's right. But I feel like that's why I feel like this work that we're doing is so important,
So I do
because
what I do.
there's ears to reach,
Yes.
and
And skills to teach, and
yes,
letting people know that this is real, it
yes,
works,
yes.
and you just need to know the steps to take to make it happen. And it's not complicated.
No,
It's not magic. It's not, well, it is magic, because
it is
magic is
magic.
just science that hasn't been explained yet.
Yes. I always say it, it's not a magic trick, but
Yeah.
it is your inner magic that we all have.
Yeah.
And that should be exciting, and yes, it will take, some unlearning and some new learning and
Mhm.
some open-mindedness, but the rewards are so great that it's worth giving it, your time. It's worth investing in yourself. It's worth, really
Mhm.
being consistent. A lot of times, if I talk to someone, they say, yeah, it worked for me, once before, but then but it's like, how consistent are you every day, every single day? Because, just like our inner magic is not something outside of us, it's inside of us. It's the same thing as far as with manifestation, which, I'm sure has many names. It's just activating that inner power that we have inside of us to direct our life in the way that we desire, instead of living unconsciously, where it seems things are happening to you. We are learning to live consciously, whereas the entire world is like conspiring for you every day. And you'll see signs of that every day. But I think a lot of people give up too early. They're not consistent. They think it's a magic trick. And that's why I always say that it's not a magic trick. And it's something that we have such a beautiful, perfect gift, but it's up to us to nurture it and to let it grow and evolve. Hmm.
And look for it. You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
if
Exactly.
if you want to manifest a little purple flower in your yard, you gotta look for little purple flowers in your yard, and
Exactly.
eventually you'll
Exactly.
see them.
Exactly. Exactly. That's right. Yeah. And it's self-worth
I do
is
that.
one of the big things too. I always say, if you are desiring something, it's because it is desiring you.
Mhm.
And if that is the case, then of course you can have it. But you have to believe that you are worthy enough to have it. You have to understand who you are, because once you do understand who you are, you will know that you are worthy of whatever that is and so much more.
Yeah. And everybody is worthy of it. And there's
Yes,
plenty.
yes,
There's
yes,
more than enough to go around for
yes,
everybody to have
yes,
everything their heart desires. Because that
yes,
heart's desire is not something that is selfishly just for you. That heart's desire is to help the collective. It's there for a reason. You should pursue it.
exactly,
It's
exactly.
important for you to
Yes,
pursue it. It's
yes,
it's irresponsible for you not to pursue it.
exactly, exactly, exactly. And I feel like personally, I feel when we completely disregard, our gifts that we know that we have, when we completely disregard that, I feel like that is ultimate disrespect to God, because
Mhm.
He gave us every single thing. He equipped us to live here abundantly. But to do that, you have to know that and you have to believe that. And so for the people that, are stuck in fear and things like that, it's unfortunate, because, like they say, on the other side of fear, on the other side of your comfort zone, on the other side of all of that is greatness. It's developing your own greatness inside of you, and whatever individual manner, that entails.
I think it starts with loving yourself and
Yes,
knowing that you
yes,
are all that in a bag of chips. You
yes,
really are. We
yes,
all are.
yes,
And we can stand in it. We don't have to have
yes,
other people tell us, no, you can't do that. Yeah, yeah,
exactly,
you can. And if they're really, enforcing that on you, then you need to put them on the other side of your fence boundaries.
exactly, exactly. Because along the way, everyone doesn't stay.
No, they don't.
We all know, people that complain all the time. And, they, 5 years ago, they're complaining about something, and then you see them today and they're still complaining about something. Well, it's because they have a plethora of things to complain about. But you can use that as an example and reverse engineer that and insert, gratefulness of thinking about what you're grateful for as soon as your eyes open in the morning. The breath that we breathe every day, where I'm not sitting here like, I hope I get another breath. I hope I get another. No, that in itself is the gift. Start there,
Yeah.
start there.
Your heart's beating.
Yes,
There you
yes,
go.
yes,
And you're able to have a conversation in any way that it happens to be. I mean, not everybody has the same skill set.
right.
They're not equipped the same. And
That's right.
and that's good.
They're not
It's
supposed to
like
be.
they're not supposed to be. I I live in a community where we have a lot of people that um, were born with Down syndrome. And
Mm,
it's kind of unusual because a lot of those children never got a chance to live. And they are some
mhm.
of the most amazing people.
I know.
I
They
really,
are
they're just
like pure
kind and
love.
loving.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's all they are is they're just
Yes.
love.
Yes.
And it's like, how sad would the world be if you didn't have any of those people around?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yes. Yes, that's right. We all have a purpose here,
Mhm.
but we have to look at it in a more fun and playful way. I always have looked at my life in chapters because there's a lot of things that I like to do. And, there's a lot of things that I enjoy doing. And I think it's important to, for us to try new things and, that comfort zone, it just comes from fear. It comes from fear, it comes from your logical brain saying, well, don't try that new thing today, maybe next week, or, maybe, it's those little excuses that you don't even realize are self-sabotaging yourself. So that's why we have to be so aware of the thoughts that we think. And like I tell my clients, if you have been, a person that has been inherently negative and you already know that, and you're thinking, well, it's hard for me to think positive thoughts. The important thing to remember is even if you have a cup of dirty water and you just start pouring in clear water into that muddy cup, over time, it's going to all be clear. So that's why consistency is so key, in your spiritual practice. It can't be something over there that you just do on Thursday, or once a month, where you might, look at a pamphlet. It has to be integrated because honestly, that is how we are supposed to be anyway. We have given too much power to the external. We've given too much power to people's opinions. We've given too much power to people that don't even know us. They don't even know us. And we have given them power over our lives and power over our decisions and power over our choices.
And our
And
feelings.
yes, and your feelings.
And your
Absolutely.
feelings really run everything in your body.
Absolutely.
If you're
And yes, and you have to get control. It's almost like a detachment. You can't be so emotional about everything, especially when it's something that you normally would react to negatively. And for me, what I have noticed through the years, 2024 Tamara is a lot different than 2017 Tamara. And the 2017 Tamara is a lot different than the 2010. And so I have, all these versions, but what it is that I have just been so serious, about my practice because I see and experience all of the good that comes from that. And so it's really important that we start with ourselves, even walking past the mirror in the morning. What are you telling yourself? Do you, are you looking in the mirror? Do you feel disgusted with yourself? Because if you're upset about yourself in some way, it's going to reflect. It's going to reflect throughout your entire day. And so for me, some of the most important times is right before I go to sleep at night. What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about, oh, I got a bill I need to pay? Or are you thinking about all the things that you're grateful for? Are you thinking about every single thing that went right? What are you thinking? And then in the morning, what are you thinking? Are you waking up? Are you excited about the day? I wake up like, because I'm like, this is a new day. I have never seen this day before. Who knows what'll happen?
I tend to wake up super early in the morning. Like this morning, I got up at 3. It was just like, because I wake up and I'm like, it's a new day. There's stuff to do. And it's at least 3 I can get up now.
You're like
2
cock-a-doodle-doo.
is too early, but 3, it's good. And I
Workable.
don't drink coffee anymore. Well, I
Oh,
drink it
wow.
sometimes, but I drink tea. I've gone to drinking tea and coconut milk
I
for
had
the
to
most
lean off
part.
the coffee. I will drink decaf here and there, but when I started, for years, I never drank coffee. And then within the past year, my husband and I have been like on a little coffee kick, but that caffeine started giving me heart palpitations. And I said, it's not for me. So I just had to switch to decaf.
Yeah,
Sometimes I think, am I drinking hot chocolate or is this considered coffee?
yeah, I just drink the hot chocolate because It's the holidays, the whipped cream comes out. I'll put it
Oh, yay.
away at the
Thank you for
first
the
of the year.
reminder. Yes. Need to get some eggnog too.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't even really do eggnog that much. It's just the chocolate milk. I like
Yeah.
hot chocolate and
Well, you can't beat that. Marshmallows
yeah,
and whipped cream.
it's kind of a winter thing and
It
fire in the
is.
fireplace
Cozy
and you
up.
get
Yes.
snow and
Yeah.
it's like the whole Hallmark picture, you
Right.
know,
Exactly. Exactly. Why are you watching a Hallmark movie? Yeah.
because it
That's right.
feels good.
It does. It does. It really does. The little
So I know
things.
that you offer people a free abundance training. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So right now, I do have my abundance training up on the website. But the thing that I'm most excited about right now is I actually created an ebook,
Mhm.
particularly for women entrepreneurs. And in that ebook has a lot of the things that I do to manifest, the desires that I want, the life that I desire to live. These are, affirmations that I personally use. I think, yeah, there's a visualization in there that, really will take you through, a guided visualization. So it's really, full of all the things that I do that I, definitely wanted to share so that others can go ahead and start implementing, some of those strategies in their life if they're looking to, change their mindset around money so that they can call in more. So
I
I'm
love that.
excited about that.
And they can find that at tamsmoneymagnetmethod.com, right?
Yes, that's correct. And it'll be right there on the first page.
Awesome.
Hmm.
This has been a marvelous conversation. I have really
Absolutely.
enjoyed it.
Same here. Same here. We need another hour.
Yeah, for sure. So, what's the one thing you hope the audience takes away from our conversations today?
The one thing that I hope that the audience will take away from our little chat is what I feel the most important part of the manifestation process, which is understanding that you are a wonderfully created, powerful individual, and that authenticity and individuality will go such a long way, in the way that God intended for you, because your life is meant to be full of abundance, full of joy, and all of the good wonderful things that you desire. So my hope is that you will understand that you are enough. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. There's never a question of that. And to
We'll
turn
always
your
have
inner,
enough.
yes, exactly, exactly. And turn your inner dialogue to that when are feeling, fearful thoughts, anxiety, turn to the truth of who you are and hold tight to that, because that is the first step in understanding that you are worthy of anything that you desire.
I love that. We'll leave it there. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Jill.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.